What's up guys, Dennis here, and today I want to try and turn a dog bone into leather. So I actually bought this dog bone because it's made out of rawhide, and I wanted to use it to try and make my own snowshoes. It didn't really snow that much this winter, so it's a good thing I never got around to that project. But while it was sitting on my desk in front of me, I had a different idea. All leather, whether it's from a cow or a horse or a raccoon, it's just a hide, a rawhide, that's been dried and then processed to be stabilized. There's three ways you can tan leather: vegetable, mineral, or aldehyde, I think it's called. But let me back up and explain tanning first. Tanning is basically just stabilizing the raw skin of an animal. The hide is made out of collagen, and basically we're doing something to those fibers of collagen so that they don't shrink and okay, this is one of those areas where the further you dive into the science of this, the more confusing it gets. Most people agree there's some type of cross-linking of the collagen fibers happening. Either an actual chemical cross-linking or a mechanical equivalent using molecules that are bound in between with special kind of bonds called hydrogen bonds that kind of keep the fibers linked together in a certain manner. Let's get to the different types of tanning. Mineral tanning uses usually chromium salts, and you end up with a leather that's waterproof, something like this boot here. And what's interesting is that, when I bought this boot, it was advertised as, oh, this lovely gray color. Well, likely this is the color that the leather is after it's tanned. Any other color you see after it's been chrome tanned is probably dyed. So this is probably actually the cheapest kind of material. Grayish leather like this is probably the cheapest to produce. Another type of tanning is vegetable tanning, and they use something called tannins, which is probably where the word tanning leather came from. And this is an example of it. Vegetable tanned leather isn't very water resistant. The interesting thing is when vegetable tanned leather gets wet, you can wet form it into shapes, and then when it dries, it'll stay into that shape. Much different than a leather like this. And from my experience wet forming vegetable tanned leather, it's interesting because it seems like some of the tannins leach out of the leather and kind of change it just a little bit the more soaked with water that you get this. So for that reason, vegetable tanned leather is really not great around water, and you have to soak it with some kind of oil or wax or both to make it a little bit more water resistant. Okay, so the last form of tanning is something called aldehyde tanning. It uses organic chemicals called aldehydes: formaldehyde, benzaldehyde, other aldehydes. And the way these work, it's believed that they actually act as a catalyst that causes the collagen fibers to cross-link. Okay, so how am I going to tan this bone? Well, I've decided that I'm going to use the aldehyde tanning method. And the first step in doing that is first I need to coat all the fibers internally with an oil, something that will provide space in between these collagen fibers and let it accept the aldehyde chemicals to go in between the fibers so that it keeps it nice and supple during the tanning process. And for the oils, I'm going to use oleic acid, linoleic acid, palmitic acid, different unsaturated and saturated fatty acids to get in there in between the collagen fibers. I'm going to use water as a carrier because this is dry right now and the oils won't penetrate as well without the water. And to keep the oils and the fatty acids and the water miscible, mixed up together, I'm going to need an emulsifier. And for that I'm going to use lecithin. Well, it just so happens that all that stuff is inside of an egg yolk. So I'm going to take this egg yolk with some water, mix it up, and soak my bone. Alright, so let's go here. I'm going to crack this egg. I hope it's not rotten. It's kind of... Oh, you know what? I don't want... It's okay. It's a little old. It's fine. I don't want the egg white. I don't need that protein. It's not going to do anything for me. It's just going to get in the way. So I'm going to try and get as much of that off as I can. So I just got the egg yolk here. And I'm going to add some warm water here. I honestly don't know how much. I'm not even going to tell you how much. Like maybe twice as much water I've put in here. So the thing is the water is going to act as a carrier, and again, it emulsifies because of the natural lecithin inside of the egg yolk. So that's nice. It's the same reason that mayonnaise whips up the way it does. The egg yolk acts as an emulsifier with that lecithin in there, and what the heck am I doing, guys? I'll be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never tried this before. And the reason actually I'm doing this, I don't want to get egg in my coffee. The reason I'm doing this is because I didn't see anyone try this before. So the problem is that although I do want the water in there to act as a carrier of the oils and stuff and get it into the leather, I don't want it to stick around. I actually need this to dry out, leaving all the fats and the oils inside the fibers, inside the hide. You know what? I really need. All right, I probably should have thought of doing this in the first place. And if I get all the air out of this bag, hopefully. I've never rehydrated a dog bone before, so I really don't know how long this is going to take. I might have to come back to this. Alright, and while this is soaking, I might as well tell you what aldehydes I'm going to use to tan the leather. I'm going to use formaldehyde, acrolein, propionaldehyde, butyraldehyde, acetaldehyde, and furfural. All these things are actually found in wood smoke. And so just by lighting a fire and putting some punky wood on top that'll smolder and smoke and create a bunch of smoke, ensuring that I'm going to be introducing a lot of different kinds of aldehydes into the hide. Alright, so we're going to let this sit for probably a few hours and soften up. It's starting to a little bit, but I think it's going to take a long time because it's knotted up. And I'm going to have to get this unknotted as well. And then the process is to stretch this out. And honestly, this is the hardest part from what I've seen of tanning, because you have to continually stretch and work the material as it's drying out. You can't just let it sit. It'll go back to this hard... I hope one egg yolk is enough. That's another thing I don't know. Alright, so we'll be back. Maybe not today, but we'll be back. Alright, I let this sit overnight, so let's see. Oh, gross. Well, it's soft. So last night before I went to bed, I noticed that it absorbed most of the water and stuff, so I added mayonnaise because I didn't have any more egg yolk. Oh yeah, okay, so now it's unraveling. Alright. Mayonnaise has got egg yolk in it, and it's basically already a mixture of oil and water. And it was the only kind of emulsified type material that I could find. Ugh. Oh man, this is gross. Okay. Need to get this unknotted. Okay. Oh, this is bigger than I thought it was. Oh man, that is disgusting inside. It doesn't smell quite as bad as I thought it would, but it smells pretty bad. And, so kind of long and narrow. Okay, so it's not completely soaked in the center. Let's see, I'm gonna have to unwrap this. Oh, I don't know what that is, but I don't want that. Looks like there's a bit of something here that didn't get taken off. What's that? Yeah, some kind of membrane that got missed. So take that off. Alright, so now I'm going to roll this back up and let it sit for a little bit longer. Back in the baggie. Ugh. I don't know what this bit in the center was, but it's gross and it smells worse than the yeah, I'm gonna throw that out. Clean my workbench. Alright, so I'm gonna let this sit for a little while longer. Ugh. Come back later. Okay, so it's been a little while. Let's see what it looks like. Ugh. Alright, so here's I think the worst part. Now I gotta work this in and keep working it and stretching it as it dries. And I really don't know how to do that. And I wish I had some gloves. Because it smells like a wet dog. The thickness on this is not consistent at all. I think what I'm going to do is just kind of come out here every hour or half hour or so and just kind of work it a little bit. I'm not going to be able to do this continuously for hours on end while it dries. Alright, I'm going to let this kind of dry out a little bit and come back to it in maybe like an hour or so. Alright, I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but put some gloves on. And I've got this handle from an old broom that I'm going to try and work this on. Oh yeah. Slippery. These gloves are nice because I get a really good grip. Otherwise it's very slippery. All right, I just wanted to share where I'm at because it's starting to get kind of exciting. It's starting to actually feel like a material and not just a soggy dog bone. So it's still pretty damp, but I'm rubbing it like this, and I don't know if it's because these gloves have a texture on them or if it's just the stage that this is at, but it's the grain is all like raising up. I don't know if you can see that. The grain is like raising up and it's getting this kind of like weird texture to it, and it's getting softer. And it's still really tough. I mean, it's leather, but it's got a little bit of, just a slight bit of stretch to it, not very much. I'm just trying to keep that stretch as it dries out. Doesn't smell quite so bad anymore. It just smells like a wet dog, really. This is it's only been a couple hours, maybe 3 hours. I think it's probably drying pretty slow in this garage too. I did turn my heater on, but it's pretty chilly in here. So I don't think this is evaporating quite as quickly as it would on a warm day. But that's good. Let that sit for a little bit longer and then come back out here and work it a little bit more. Alright, so it's the next day, and this is what the piece of leather looks like. Actually, it might have been a little more than a day. Don't really know what happened. Anyway, it looks kind of like leather, but it's, let me bring it closer. It's soft, and it doesn't smell, so that's cool. Well, it kind of smells like leather. And most importantly, it didn't rot. So, yeah, it's been a bit that it's been sitting on my shelf, and I'm surprised that, like, I mean, it's got egg water in it, and it seems perfectly fine. Like, I wouldn't have known that this had like a bunch of egg yolks rubbed into it. But anyway, I think that it needs more oils from the egg yolks. So what I'm going to do today is I've got some more egg yolk and I've got some water. So I'm going to mix it up, and I don't even remember how many yolks did I put in this so far. Anyway, we're going to put 2 more in. So we'll see how that does. I can remember how I did this. Get that all mixed up there. You know what? There's like a full yolk in there. I need to break that up. Okay, here we go. So get in there. It almost doesn't want to go in. It almost seems slightly waterproof at first. Although then it just starts rubbing in here. You don't want to crack it because some of these spots are kind of. I feel like if I worked it too hard, it might crack. Like it feels brittle almost in some spots. And I think I did actually last time break some areas because I was just a little bit too aggressive with it. I think I just didn't have enough oils as it started drying out. You know, I got it nice and supple because it was wet, but then it started drying out and it didn't have enough oil to stay in the fibers to keep it soft. Okay, this is sufficiently disgusting. Let me keep working this and check back in a minute. Alright, I'm not one to give up, but I'm pretty close. It doesn't seem like... Okay, so what I was expecting was kind of a wet chamois kind of feeling to this. And while it's supple, it's soft. Actually, I don't know if I'd say supple. It's kind of waxy. And I was really expecting more of like a wet chamois kind of consistency, because that's kind of what I was hoping for, is like when this is done, it would be almost like a sponge or like a towel, like a chamois, right? It's not feeling like it's gonna be that way. It's feeling like it's gonna be kind of stiff in spots. I'm not getting it to like... So the spots you can see that have torn, they're not any better at this point. I almost feel like I needed to kind of get it all done at once, and trying to do a second round of this this egg water is not penetrating in the same way, maybe. Maybe I didn't use enough water. I don't know, but it's can I hear that? Like there's some spots that they're still pretty stiff. There are spots that are like where it's thinner, that it kind of feels more like what I was gonna try for. Like I thought I was gonna get almost, I don't know, just softer. This part here is just all hard and cracked, and it's like it's getting worse the more I try and work it. So I don't know if I'm going to get much further on that. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm trying to make leather out of a dog bone. No, I mean, I still think theoretically this should work. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just keep kind of like casually working this as it dries, just so it doesn't completely dry like this. But I'll keep kind of working it until it's pretty dry, and then I'll let it sit overnight for a night. So I think I'm going to make this video a two-parter, just because it's taken so damn long. Alright, well thanks for watching, guys. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit me Nope, that's the focus. Alright, well thanks for watching, guys. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button down below. If you like this video, hit a thumbs up. And leave me a comment as what you thought about this. And maybe some tips for what I'm doing wrong, or... I don't know. Leave me a comment. I really like your comments. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.